Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something that I think we all know instinctively, but I think it's useful to take a moment to stop and think about it for a little bit. We're going to be talking about the difference between instant gratification and delayed gratification. Instant gratification are the things that we do right now in the moment to make ourselves feel good or feel better, as the case may be. For example, having a cookie, drinking a glass of wine or a mug of beer, buying something. Things that we know if we do that right now, we're going to be feeling just a little bit better within a few minutes after we do it. Now, some of these things over time add up to be problematic for us. If every single time that we want to feel good in the moment, we have a cookie or a glass of wine or a shot of whiskey. If every single time we want that good feeling, we use something like that, then we're going to run into some trouble. And the reason I'm talking about it is because sometimes people have a hard time grappling with this, because what is it that we're hearing all the time? You only live once. Live in the moment. Life is short. Have the cake. That's what we're constantly told. The problem is, what happens when tomorrow comes? Well, if you live every day like there's no tomorrow, you end up with a weight problem. You end up with a drug or alcohol problem. You end up in crippling debt. You end up maybe with a gambling problem. That's what happens if every single time in the moment you do exactly what you think will make you feel better in that moment indiscriminately without any thought of possible consequences, especially if you continue that attitude over time. So the problem with living every day like there's no tomorrow is that there is tomorrow. Often, we hope, right? That day does come and we're stuck with the consequences of all of the decisions that we've made when we wanted to feel good right then. And then what happens? Well, cue the regrets. You think to yourself, oh my God, I wish I hadn't eaten that. I'm trying to lose weight. I wish I hadn't spent that money. I'm trying to save up. I wish I hadn't had that shot of whiskey because I'm trying to be sober. A lot of times, those things that make us feel good in the short term don't necessarily make us feel good in the long term. And that's the things that you do for instant gratification to make you feel good. What about the things that you are not doing so that you'll feel good? As in not exercising because you don't feel like exercising, not studying because you don't feel like studying, not texting or calling somebody back that you need to have a tough conversation with because you don't feel like dealing with the drama, not going to work because you don't feel like it. What happens when we choose not to do things to feel good in the moment all the time? Well, those problems start to add up too. If we don't go to work over and over again, that's a problem. If we kind of avoid tough situations in our relationships over time, we're not going to have that many. If we don't exercise, well, you know how I feel about exercise, right? You really should. You need to get that in and it doesn't feel comfortable in the moment. Instant gratification is not just about consuming or doing the things we want to do. Instant gratification can also mean not doing the things that we know that we should do. Both cases are prioritizing how I feel right now as opposed to what my goals are long term and what I need to do ongoing on a regular basis in order to meet those goals. So what does prioritizing those instant gratification things do for us over the course of a month or over the course of several months or a year or a lifetime? If we only focus on the things that make us feel good right now, whether that be partaking in things that maybe over time aren't great or not doing the things that over time would build up something wonderful. Not much, right? Nothing good. Good things don't come from always prioritizing feeling good in the moment. So that cookie that tastes good in the moment, you might have a probably less than a minute of joy, maybe up to 5, depending on how many cookies you eat. Right? What does that do for you after that time is passed? It starts digesting into regret is what it does for you. And same can be said for all the things that you want to do, all of the goals that you have for yourself that require applied effort over time that you don't do, that also piles up into regret. The thing is, those long game things that we're trying to acquire, like a skill that we're trying to develop in ourselves through practice, a career we're trying to build, relationships that we're trying to nurture, a fit and healthy body we're trying to develop, those things take applied effort over time. Those things require us to do something in the moment that we maybe don't feel like doing. They require us to sacrifice the comfort of right now so that we can get something we can't even see yet, that we have to have the faith that will come to us if we do this thing, this uncomfortable thing in the moment over and over and over again. It's a hard sell, right? You can't even see the results, but you've got to have faith that you'll get them if you sacrifice the comfort of right now. Whereas you eat a cookie, you do feel good right then. You know that you will. It's all right in front of you and obvious. What isn't obvious is the consequences of eating that cookie, because there usually aren't consequences of having one cookie. Consequences from eating cookies, and I don't know why I'm picking on cookies or cake or fast food, whatever, your drug of choice is. The consequences are not found in one serving. They're found over and over and over as we consume these things over time. And the reverse is true. Going to the gym and exercising or going out for a walk or a run or lifting weights one time, you don't see any benefit from it. Just as the cookie has immediate benefits that are right in front of you and you don't feel the negative consequences right away, when you exercise, you suffer a little bit and you don't see the benefit right away. So which one do you think our animal brains want to do more? So the real mind bend that we have to convince ourselves is not eating the thing or drinking the thing or buying the thing right now that'll make us feel good right now will make us feel good later. So we have to say no to the right now thing that'll make us feel good right now and say yes to the uncomfortable thing that will not necessarily make us feel comfortable right now so that we can get the benefit later. And that, my friends, is delayed gratification, that waiting until later to get the benefit of what we're doing. It is the I'm not comfortable getting out of bed on a cold winter morning and getting on my workout clothes and going to the gym. I don't particularly want to go necessarily to work in the morning. I don't want to save my money instead of buying everything that I see. Those choices that don't feel the best right now, we have to have faith that in the long term are going to make us feel good later, delaying that gratification, the later bits of good feeling by prioritizing then and not right now. Ultimately, the issue of delayed gratification comes down to the fact that we can't see it. We can see the cookie. We can see the alcohol. We can see the thing that we want to buy. It's right in front of us. It is obvious. We cannot see the career that we want to build, the relationships that we want to build, the body we want to build, the skill set that we want to have. We have to have faith in them. We have to use our imagination and believe in them so that we have the motivation to work on them even when it doesn't feel good in the moment, even if we would way rather watch TV and scroll. We have to have faith that that future us that will have that great career, that great body, that ability to play the guitar or run a marathon or weld or kick a 59-yard field goal or whatever it is. We have to have the faith that if we do the hard things now, we'll get to have those things later. That's delayed gratification. And here's the real kicker. Not only can we not see what all that effort could build up to if we really tried, we also can't see the consequences if we quit. Nobody can show you what your body could look like if you went to the gym or, stopped eating a bunch of junk. Nobody could show you how successful your career could be if you put in the effort that you know that you're capable of. Nobody can show you all of the things you could have done if you had lived your life a little differently. It's not real because it doesn't exist yet. And so there's no impetus. There's no thing pulling you if you don't have the faith. But here's the thing about long-term goals that don't exist that you have to have faith in. If you quit, you never get to know what could have been. So it's not like what your body could look like or what career you could have or what your relationships could be are in your face reminding you to, make different choices. They just quietly won't exist if you don't make those choices. If you choose Netflix and chill and scrolling every night instead of practicing an instrument, you don't get to know how good you could have been. If you choose not to tell your partner one great thing about them that you're grateful for every day, you just won't ever know what your relationship could have been like. So it's not in your face. That's the whole thing about delayed gratification. It is such a leap of faith because it doesn't exist yet. You have to believe that the choices that you make every day can lead you to something different. And if you don't, you'll just stay where you are. Here's the thing though, while delayed gratification is an exercise in faith, it's not blind faith. It's not like you have no idea what would happen if someone changed their diet and went to the gym all the time. You do. There are plenty of examples. Go Google before and after photos. There are lots and lots of examples of what people have been able to do with their bodies with applied effort. Same with any famous musician or sports person or anything worth accomplishing. If you want to see the effects of applied effort over time, then, turn on your television, open your computer. It's there for you to see. Applied effort is excellence. That's what exceptional people do. And they're not superhuman. They're human. Your current state of being is a culmination of all of the choices that you've made up until now. But that doesn't mean that you can't make new choices and create a new experience for yourself. And that is really what I'm getting at. The trouble is our default is kind of lazy and hedonistic. And that's what we're up against. Our animal brains don't appear to be all that, motivated. We really, really like to do what is pleasurable in the moment, really don't particularly like to do what's uncomfortable. That's where our kind of advanced brains need to kick in, and we have to consciously decide to do that, at least in the beginning, before we've developed our habits. But truly, what makes us advanced is our ability to do this, our ability to forego the present in hopes that we can make the future even better for ourselves. We can take the long view. We can imagine what life can be over time. So when people have this issue that they're depriving themselves, the reason they feel that way a lot of times is because they're in the moment and they see the thing that they're not going to get. If they follow their plan and they choose not to have the birthday cake or not to have the pie or not to have bread or whatever, and they're in a circumstance where that thing is right in front of them, then that deprivation is tangible in that moment. They know, I put that in my mouth, I feel good right now. I'm not, so I'm depriving myself. I hear that a lot when people are talking about making dietary changes. They say, I don't want to feel deprived. I think in that moment, when you're in front of the foods that that would make you feel good right then, it's very difficult to think about what you would be depriving yourself of if you do eat the thing. If you do say, you only live once, enjoy the moment and have the thing every single time. You don't see the better health that you're depriving yourself of. You don't see the slimmer body, the less joint pain, the better, lab work numbers. You're depriving yourself of those things if you always choose to eat the things that aren't great for you, that aren't on your plan. So deprivation does go both ways, and you are making a choice in any given situation. Like, I might deprive myself of having ice cream every night before I go to bed, but by doing that, I don't deprive myself of being able to fit into smaller pants and being able to go hiking without feeling winded and having back pain. There are two sides of deprivation. And when it comes to delayed gratification, we might deprive ourselves of comfort in the moment so that we get up and go to the gym, or we practice our instrument, or we, go to work, or whatever it is that we don't want to do that we do anyway, so that in the future, we're not depriving ourselves of the ability to have a really cool skill or a great career or a good relationship. We can deprive ourselves in the now to reap the rewards later, or we can have the instant gratification now and we don't even get to see those rewards later. And in general, those long haul things do seem to be the better things. Because the reality is you're making a choice whether you're going to be moving toward your goal or away from it. And you're going to be making those choices over and over and over again, thousands of times. Just like one cookie doesn't ruin everything, one trip to the gym doesn't fix everything. Both of those things have to add up one way or the other. And you don't got to be perfect, fortunately. You just got to put way more in the I'm moving toward health column than I'm kind of backtracking or moving away from it column. Each one of those choices are like tiny little bricks. You're laying tiny little bricks toward being sick and having a fortress of illness. Or you're laying tiny little bricks toward building a castle of good health and good relationships and good finances, all the things. I am talking about weight loss, but as I said when I was talking about habits, these choices, they cross all these lines. Delayed gratification versus instant gratification is not just a matter of food and exercise. It's everything. In every moment of our day, we're deciding between feeling good right now or building towards something later. And you don't have to be perfect. That's the great news. Nobody's perfect. That doesn't exist. So let go of that. You are going to do some things that don't move you toward health. We all are. There is no way to make 100% perfect, pure, great health decisions, and you don't have to. The idea is to make as many as you can, is to put up the good fight. More times than not, choose to go to the gym, choose to take a walk, choose to not eat the garbage food that you know is going to make you sicker and not healthier. So when somebody says to you, life is too short, eat the cake. Well, okay, on your birthday, right? Sure, eat the cake on your birthday, but every day, maybe don't eat the cake. That's really what this comes down to. I'm not saying don't ever again have a single thing that makes you a little sicker. Our body is very resilient and able to do a lot of magical things with the garbage we put into it. That's not my point. My point is, if you're not in the body that you want right now, chances are your scale is tipped towards unhealthy. And what you need to do is start tipping it toward the healthy side, and it will happen. Making these choices, you don't see the results the first few times, maybe not even the first few 100 times. Like I said, there are so many choices that you have to make, and you have to be kind of consistent, statistically on the greater on the healthy side than on the less so side. But it is going to take some time. The nice thing is, though, that time does pass and the results do start to come. The pants do get looser. Things do get better. And fortunately, as I've talked with habits, that momentum is air on your back. You get to take those wins and use them as fuel for more wins. The good habits, those good things, perpetuate themselves. It feels good to feel good. And we want more of that. Just like it feels good to really be good at something. And how do people get good at things? They practice and practice and practice, which is boring. But the reason they keep practicing is they got a little good, and then they got better, and then they got better, and they saw what applied effort does for them. And it becomes self-perpetuating. Good things beget good things. As a matter of fact, I would say without exception that the things that we're proud of are those things that we have delayed gratification for, are the delayed gratification things, the long haul things. I mean, think about it. What are you most proud of in your life? Is it your children? Because that's a long haul right there. That's a whole lot of work. Is it your career? That's not something that, you wake up one day with something amazing. That's something that you build. Is it your skill set? Is it your relationships? Think about it. Whatever it is, you've put some suffering into it. I'm willing to bet hard money. The things that come easy and you never have to make any sacrifices for, watching TV, eating good things, scrolling social media, whatever. Do you ever feel like, oh, I'm so glad I spent 2 hours scrolling social media. I'm so glad that I marathoned that show. Or I feel really proud of myself for doing that. Right? That's not what happens. I'm so glad that I impulse bought all those clothes and now I don't have any money and my credit cards run up. That's not what happens to anybody. And I am the last person to say that we don't need downtime, that, we should never have any kind of edible treats, one way or the other, that we should never spend any extra money. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is think about it. Think about, am I doing this for the moment? And is there something that I could be doing for later? There is this phrase that I learned in Spanish, and I love it, probably because it sounds exotic. The phrase is, nada cambia si no cambiamos nada. And it means nothing changes if we change nothing. Without having this mindset of, I'm going to deprive myself of these things in front of me, these instant gratification things that are not going to do much for me, because I'm going to look at those long haul things. I'm going to take that long haul approach. If you don't ever choose that, if you're not willing to start making those sacrifices for that current moment, then nothing's going to change. And everything is just going to be what you always got. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to keep getting what you've been getting. In order for us to transform and to do something different, we have to act differently. And for the most part, the way we need to act differently is we need to prioritize tomorrow a little bit more than we have been. Try not to get lulled into that instant gratification animal brain that makes you think what's in front of you is all there is. Because it's not. We as human beings are capable of doing amazing things, but we got to have our eyes on the prize. We have to be willing to sacrifice comfort for today in order to get something amazing tomorrow or the next day, maybe a year from now. It's going to take a little while. I ain't promising tomorrow, but it will come. And even though it's going to take a while, it's not like you go from having nothing to getting everything all at once. You get to gradually transform. So use that amazing brain that you have evolved to have as a human to imagine what your life could be, the physique, the body that you have always wanted. Think about the things that a person would need to do to get you from where you are to that body. Break it down into a daily routine. Break that into the smallest little piece that you can think of and to do right now, and make that choice and do that thing right now. It's a throwback, folks. The reality is you got to do the thing to get where you want to go. And that thing might be giving up the refined carbohydrates. That thing might be starting an exercise program. That thing might be drinking more water and less soda. Whatever you've picked, you got to do the thing. I hope my message is super, super clear. You are going to be given so many choices every day for the rest of your life. And in each of those choices, you're going to be deciding between me right now and how I feel and the me later. Now, am I saying never let the me right now feel good? No, absolutely not. I want you to feel great, but you probably won't feel great if you're constantly making choices that make your body sicker. So there is a dance, there is a balance there. And not everything to feel good in the moment hurts you. Hugs feel good in the moment. Reading, listening to amazing music, practicing your instrument, exercising, practicing your crafts, right? Even those things that I have been talking about, like that make us feel a little uncomfortable to get up and do, once we're doing them, they can feel great. This whole ball game is about choices. It's about the choices we make every day. We are given so many opportunities to make the choice towards being healthier or towards being a little bit sicker. And the more times we choose health, the closer we're going to get. So go out there and make good choices, everybody. Hey y'all, my name is Heather Schucker. I'm a nurse practitioner, which means I'm a healthcare provider, but I am not your healthcare provider. As such, if any of the information that I've been giving you, which is meant to be general, doesn't quite jive with what your healthcare provider has said to you, please discuss this with them, as they know your health history and I do not.